Hey guys, do you know what it really means to be an Omega mutant in the X-Men universe? Want to find out why characters like Magneto and Storm are considered the most powerful among mutants? In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the X-Men's power ratings and reveal secrets you may never have heard before. Get ready to understand how these rankings impact storylines and matchups in the Marvel universe. Let's unravel together why some mutants are able to reach unimaginable levels of power. To start, you already know. Comment below if you watched the classic 90s animation that ran until 1996, and also if you watched X-Men 97. You liked it? I love talking to you guys. Send me comments. Shall we go? Continuing. If you've been following the events of X-Men 97, you may have noticed a few moments where mutants like Storm are classified as belonging to the Omega level. While these nomenclatures are common in comics today, they weren't as widely used back when the 90s animation aired. Although it's not an element that should influence the end of the season, understanding how it works is very important for understanding the universe of mutants. After all, a mutant's classification gives you an idea of how much damage they can cause in a fight. Levels have gained importance recently. Even if you've only followed the old cartoon and read the comics it was inspired by, you probably don't understand the classification. That's because though it emerged in the 1980s, it only gained importance in 2019 with the dawn of the X Initiative. It's important to see how this classification has evolved over time and how it has become a crucial element to understand the power of mutants in the X-Men universe. This change brought a new dimension to the stories, further deepening the character development. Formed by the miniseries House of X and Power of X and led by screenwriters Jonathan Hickman, this initiative performed a kind of reboot in the mutant universe. Past adventures are still taken into account, but from this point on they began to behave like members of the nation of Krakoa, which abandoned the idea of integration into the human world. The changes were so numerous that even villains such as Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse found their places amongst the heroes within the intelligent and living island, inevitably leading to many conflicts and betrayals. In this context, power classifications gained greater significance and became more complex. According to the definition in the first edition of House of Mutants, or House of X, an Omega mutant is one whose dominant power reaches or records an undefinable upper limit of that specific power's classification. In other words, the power level is so high that it can reach a point where it's impossible to measure its limits. However, this definition alone doesn't encompass all a character's characteristics. Jean Grey, for example, is considered an Omega mutant because of her telekinesis. Though her telepathy has limits that would classify her differently, what matters is the highest level of power someone possesses. X-Men has different classifications. X-Men's mutants have different power classifications. According to Marvel, their universe currently has a total of 25 Omega mutants, among which notable names include Magneto, Iceman, Storm, Vulcan, Legion, and Rope Summers. Other classifications include even more mutants: Epsilon, the lowest level, which usually involves mutations that are purely physical or lack combat characteristics; Beta, mutants having powers which are useful but limited or passive, such as healing factor. Rogue, prior to obtaining Carol Danvers' powers, is a good example of someone who would be in that category. Alpha, the most common classification and one that encompasses most Marvel characters. Currently, Rogue is in this category that it shares with names like Cyclops, Professor Xavier, and Forge. It's worth noting that given the nature of the comics, The Omega state is quite fluid and tends to encompass more mutants as time goes by. Iceman, for instance, only reached this level as he gained greater maturity. Cable only managed to reach it temporarily in a single story arc. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. I'd love to discuss the topics of the video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Suggestions for the next videos are popping up here now. It totally makes sense for you to watch them. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.